Step right up with Madam Lightning as we bring you the news from a different point of view. And man, do I have some news! And I did a lot of research on this and breakdown and what it means. So, first of all, you already know the first part of the segment is always the makeup reveal. So, 3, 2, 1, here we go. Alright, so first of all, I'm wearing my Kirby shirt again because I'm a huge nerd. So, check this out. Zelda fans will appreciate this. I got the Zelda earrings. I believe that's the Time song. All right. So then we went with a different pattern this time. We went with the pink, purple, and red with the sparkle. And then my favorite kind of lipstick, the pink one I got. It only cost me $1.50 at Dollar General. I love it because it actually holds up pretty well, honestly. But with that being said, let's hop into the very important news and what I have uncovered. All right, so first off, let's get into the fact that Mr. DJT has decided with an executive order that he is going to open up a new department known as the Faith Office. Now, what does that mean, you ask? I'll tell you what it means. And yes, it can be very scary depending on how you look at it and break it down, but it's okay because it does violate a few of the constitutional rules in a way and laws depending on how it's enacted and works out. Alrighty, so number one, he is going to be directing his Attorney General, Pam Bondi, the one who was literally interviewed about asking if she was going to be persecuting his enemies and, or honoring her role as an Attorney General. So she's going to be helping with this department in a way, along with the person that DJT appointed named Paula White, which apparently is a well-known pastor who's also known as a huge Trump worshiper by a lot of her followers, or you could call her a Trump loyalist in a way if she's getting her own department, no matter how you spin it. So this department is actually going to be, and I quote, targeting anti-Christian bias within the federal government. Now, I want you to listen to the key words, within the federal government. The thing they've been dissecting and slicing up like it's a pizza pie lately, taking every bit of it out and using every excuse in the book to just fire and remove people or give them ultimatums for their jobs, which isn't really even saving as much money as they're saying, and it's not making anything more efficient. Anyways, let me stop rambling and get back to the point. So I couldn't find much controversy on Paula White, but you can look her up for the history and everything. But the main thing that I saw, because apparently this happened recently, that someone dug up on her, which was her actually posting and talking about wishing miscarriages on what they call satanic pregnancies, whatever that under her guidelines are. But listen to that. Wishing miscarriages on anybody, and you're a pastor, a woman of God, and that's what you choose to do with it, is wish ill fate. And if you're supposed to be, pro baby life, then why would you wish for a baby not to make it? And what deems a satanic baby in that case? Anyways, again, sorry again for rambling, but if you can't tell, that's some pretty messed up stuff for another person he's appointing to his cabinet. So this is what I'm going to go into, because it's more critical thinking depending on how you break it down. So first, I do want to mention that it is not mentioned in the Constitution, but the concept comes from the First Amendment of separation of church from state. So that's a very important notation. So I took a lot of notes on this, dug in deeply, did my research and due diligence so I could get the answers to break this down for you. All right. So the First Amendment states that Congress cannot make laws that establish a religion or prohibit free practice of religion. So with that being said, just let that sit for a second so you can kind of absorb those words. Okay, so there's another thing that the Supreme Court has interpreted the First Amendment clause, which what that actually entails is that the Constitution requires separation of church and state so that it doesn't tread on or violate anything that could potentially go against the First Amendment. So remember, the First Amendment clause. Okay, that's an important term. You can look it up for more info because there's a lot down depending on your critical thinking skills for breaking it down. Now, here's something that's very interesting. First of all, the Founding Fathers did not believe in the union between church and state. And why? Because one, the 30-year religious war that, went on because of so, and two, because they lived through it and they knew the dangers of putting the two together and what it could potentially do for a country that was founded on freedom and the ability to grow and actually, progress. Now, this is more of a the more you know segment thing, but here's an interesting fact. The Constitution only mentions religion twice, one being in the First Amendment and number 2 in Article 6. Okay, and I'm going to tell you what Article 6 actually is, or the baseline of it, because it's important to understanding why this new appointment of the faith office affects it and correlates with what I'm talking about. So, Article 6 states that the Constitution is the supreme law of the land. So, in other words, that means no state law, nothing can trump over that, which is why, number one, again, I'm going to ramble again, but with that being said, how the hell is, DJT pushing through any of this stuff when he's obviously going against the Constitution and the people who swore on their oaths, which here's another important part you're going to love. I'm about to get to it right now. You're going to love it. So check this out, okay? It also includes law, treaties, and constitutions in that role of Article 6. And here's another beautiful thing. Judges are bound by this in every state, even if it contradicts state laws. So imagine that with the Roe v. Wade thing, because in a way, just saying, the First Amendment rights there, treading all over them. And yet y'all only care about the Second Amendment when you're a MAGA person. The irony of that, I bet you can't even name 10 of the amendments. And this isn't even a video to come at y'all. I'm just trying to educate, but I'm just stating facts and hard, cold facts. Here's another important little thing into it that I should mention. No religious test can be required to hold public office or trust under the United States. So think about that for a second, okay? If they're trying to weed out the federal government and they're using a Christian agenda to do so, that completely goes against Article 6. There's no questions, ifs, ands, or buts about it. Because if you're going for an anti-Christian thing, since you say that we discriminate against that, which is laughable because that's not true, and I'll get to that in a minute here, but it totally goes against Article 6 if you were to persecute federal employees by weeding them out because they don't have the same religious agenda and beliefs as you. And that actually violates quite a few laws and opens up a lot of lawsuits. So I'm going to go into basically, these are the words Trump said himself. Trump claims it's to protect Christians from religious discrimination. What discrimination? I mean, what discrimination? Okay, think about that for a second. Christians all the way back, going back into England and everything, we all know how that turned out and why people started leaving. It wasn't just to explore and find spices. We all know it was because they got tired of a little dictator king telling them every little if, and but they could do. But anyways, Christians are targeting all kinds of communities, okay? And banning books and all kinds of things because they don't like it. So what discrimination are we going to talk about? Because we could go tit for tat on this. Y'all are targeting the LGBTQ community, trans people, even women's rights to their body, okay? And y'all are Christian women. And God, according to the Bible, the true Bible, from what a lot of true Christians speak on, is that he loves everybody and tolerates everybody the same, and everybody's supposed to be equal in his eye and not some kind of demonized thing. So I'm about to sum this up since I'm hitting the mark here. But he's also going to target the Department of Justice, the IRS, FBI, and many other federal agencies. Imagine that. He's already doing that, but he's going to do it even more. And he's going to use Pam Bondi, in his words, to persecute anti-Christian violence and vandalism in our society. Listen to those keywords, in our society. And nationwide, meaning not just limited to the U.S., apparently. And nationwide's not on your side in this case. All jokes aside, I'm going to end it with my little catchphrase. It's not about the left or the right. It's about what's wrong and what's right. And in this case, use your critical thinking. If this reaches anybody, please share this. Get it out there. I'm trying to educate. And I do have a YouTube channel now in my bio called Madam Lightning Show. If you want to follow me there as well for when TikTok goes down. Madam Lightning out.